Hey guys, Chris and PJ here live in the Dream Giveaway Garage.
Hello, Christopher. Happy Wednesday to you.
I'm glad you didn't say Happy Monday, PJ.
I know, it seems like that way anyway.
Right. I'll tell you, and I told you before we went live, we missed you, and our audience, I'm sure, missed you as well.
Well, thank you.
But I'm sure that whatever you had going on the last 2 days was what you had going on
It's
the
been a
last
lot
2
of fun.
days.
It's been a lot of fun.
Indeed, indeed. I'll tell you, talking about days, there's only, 1 day and 11 hours left for you to enter to win this 1968 Firebird 350 HO convertible 4-speed.
Now, Chris, we've talked so much about this HO car and the fact that its origins and everything like this, and the fact obviously it's a convertible,
right,
and where it's come from in the whole Pontiac days.
Right.
I mean, this is a really special vehicle.
Really is. And you've got to remember, 68, they produced a lot of Firebirds, maybe 87,000, maybe even more than that. And only about 3,700 of them were 350 HO convertibles.
How many?
About 3,700, or maybe 350 HO 4-speed convertibles, only about 3,700. You know, the number is really, really low on that.
How many do you think are still actively running?
You know, there's a few, but when you start taking the other stuff into consideration, like the triple black color, right, and the hood tack, I mean, could it be a 101? It could. You know, what's interesting is Ford has a way to drill down to it's a 101 car. Because their data and their classic, Mustang data has all been not digitized, but it has been put into the digital realm so that they can easily sort by option. For Pontiac, it's entirely different. When they look up the options for a vehicle, it's still on what we call microfiche. And so they have to manually pull that microfiche out of the cabinet and put it on a microfiche reader, and then they can see how the car was built. So they don't yet have all that information into a sortable data set. How's that for a word? So we can only approximate how many triple black 350 HO 4-speed convertibles were made by Pontiac in 1968. So I'm guessing that it is super rare. At the least, it is less than 1 of 50 in triple black, and like I said, it might even be rarer or more rare, depending how you conjugate your superlatives. Right?
That's right.
Yeah, indeed. But you've only got no matter how you call it, you got a day and 11 hours left to enter. This was a real special car, and backstory on it, we had already chosen the GTO behind it for the next GTO Dream Giveaway. And this Firebird became available, and we said, we can't pass up the opportunity to let one of you great fans out there in Dream Giveaway land win this amazing Pontiac muscle car. And so we actually delayed the launch of the GTO Dream Giveaways so that we could get the Firebird Dream Giveaway up and running. So once the Firebird ends, do we have another Firebird in store? We don't. We'll just go back for now to doing the GTO. But if you guys write your senators and your congressmen and ladies and demand that we do another Firebird giveaway, then guess what? We'll do that.
What do you like most about this Firebird, Chris?
That's a great question for me. I just love the entire look of the first generation Firebird, and the 68 especially. I've owned more 68s than I have 67s or 69s. 68 is my favorite year of the three, 69 being second and 67 being third. And if I was ordering this car, would I do anything different? I would. But when we look at this vehicle today, what a great example from that wonderful time in Pontiac history. So who's out there, PJ?
Let's see here. Roger wants to know if I've been shoveling snow over the last couple of days.
Well, I'll tell you what. It was 26 below 70 degrees this morning when I got into the car, Roger. So it was quite brutal for us down here in Florida.
I took the dogs for a walk this morning.
You took the dogs
and it was
for a
49
walk.
degrees.
I think it's up to 60 now.
59, yeah.
50, I think it's 59. So the snow blowers, I haven't seen them this afternoon. There you go.
JP Hunt says, I'm in it to win it.
There you go. And how do you get in it to win it? You go to dreamgiveaway.com, use promo code Facebook Live or promo code YouTube, depending where you're watching. Get those bonus tickets. And those bonus tickets are important, right, PJ?
It seems like almost all of the winners who've won are using some kind of promo code in their orders and getting bonus tickets.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Tomorrow we're going to fire it up for the last day of the Firebird Dream Giveaway. Fire it up, Firebird.
Oh, that'll be a lot of fun. We'll fire this thing up tomorrow.
A lot of fun. And of course, the 350 HO came from the factory with dual exhaust. And in retrospect, the 350 HO doesn't make a whole lot of sense because there's a 350 2-barrel, there's a 350 4-barrel, and then there's a 350 HO, and then there's the 400. And the price difference between the 350 HO and the 400 is so nominal by the way we look at money today. But back in the day, it actually made a difference. But the bigger difference might have been the insurance companies. That if you got a 350 HO, your insurance price might not be as high as if you got a 400. Now, you wouldn't get that cool double scoop hood that the 400s had, but you know, if you were on a budget back then, that extra $10 in a car payment might have been important to you,
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Kathy says, this Firebird would warm my heart and my imaginary lead foot. Is it really going to go?
Well, I'll tell you, it has a whole lot of fun to it. Now remember, muscle cars, especially these sporty mid-range Firebirds back in the day, weren't as quick as, say, a big block Chevy. But it would probably still do in the 13s, maybe high 13s. And remember, this doesn't have a numerically super high numbered gear ratio on it, so it's not a 390 car. Probably it's a convertible after all, so it's probably a 308 or I think I looked it up and it's a 336 rear on this car. So I will say that it's fun, it's sporty, it will peel out if you need it to peel out, it will chirp the gears. And these days, when you own a classic muscle car, that's more important than are you going to beat the guy next to you in the Corvette or in the Challenger or in the Hemi Cuda or whatever, right? Because those days are gone.
Now, Tommy Smith says, trust me, it looks better in person. Hi, guys. Hello, Dream Team.
Yeah, hi, Tommy.
Yeah, super excited for everybody to come through here.
Yeah,
through the garage.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you guys about the engine. Someone asked me to look up the heads, look at the date code on the heads. And they are date coded to the build of the car.
Are they?
So it is my opinion, and this is not a guarantee of authenticity, but it appears to me that it's the original block and heads in this car. So that makes sense.
And you don't get that all the time.
You don't get that all the time, yeah. So I think this car had a pampered life.
JP wants to know what my favorite thing is about this car.
PJ.
What do you think it is?
Oh, I already know. Go and show them.
The white shifter. Actually, I love the style of the vehicle and that white shifter knob. Right, look at that.
Yeah, there you go.
How clean that looks.
Fun stuff there, PJ, right?
Absolutely.
So good.
Now, Roger says that his temperature up there, he's on your scale, so it's minus 88 degrees.
Minus 88 degrees up there, Roger. Oh, my.
On the Chris scale.
On the Chris scale. On the Florida thermometer scale.
Joe says, first gen F-body, 4-speed convertible that is so desirable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, you guys see 4-speed Camaros, and they're great too. It's cool when you see a nice 4-speed Firebird convertible, and for it to be an HO car. That's one of my favorite parts of the entire exterior, is that classic Firebird emblem and the spelling of Firebird right there on the front fender. Absolutely love it. You know, interesting story about the Firebird is that Pontiac didn't come up with the name. Did you know that, PJ?
Oh, I didn't know. Who'd they steal it from?
General Motors. So there were concept cars back in the 1950s. There was a Firebird 1, a Firebird 2, and a Firebird 3. They were turbine-powered cars. You guys might remember them.
Turbine-powered.
And they were, you'd see them at the Motorama, right? Or the Autorama. And I think the last one was late 50s, early 60s. And so the name was out there with General Motors, and nobody was really using it on a vehicle. So I don't know if General Motors told DeLorean that he needed to use the word Firebird, or if Pontiac internally thought the word Firebird wasn't being used by GM anymore, and that would be a good fit for Pontiac's version of the F-body. But Pontiac did not come up with the name Firebird.
You think some heads got a screaming match in some offices back there when all of a sudden the Pontiac Firebird came out?
Oh yeah, there were big battles, and I've mentioned this before, is that DeLorean did not want the Firebird. He wanted the Banshee. And huge battles. In fact, a famous story, and I won't tell you the whole story, but DeLorean had put the Banshee on display at the New York Auto Show, and the president of GM, Jim Roche, saw it there, and he said, "Take that damn car out of there." And so DeLorean saw that it was gone, and he said, "You put that car back on there." And next thing you know, DeLorean gets a call from the general, not the CEO, from the GM of GM, right? From the president of GM, and said, "I took it down. You're not going to argue with me on this." So they banished the Banshee.
Floyd says Pontiac also had the Fire Chief.
No.
No?
Texaco had the Fire Chief. Pontiac had the Star Chief.
Oh, really?
Right, back in the 50s. And by the mid-60s, Pontiac was really moving away from that Indian nomenclature that it had. In the 50s, there were the light-up Indian hood emblems, if you remember them, on the premium Pontiacs that were there. And again, they started to move away from that stuff. So why Indian? Because Pontiac, of course, was an Indian tribe, right?
Oh,
right, in
know
Michigan.
That.
You didn't know that.
Didn't know
and
that.
That's where Pontiac, Michigan was named after, the Pontiac Indian tribe. So by the early 60s, anything that had chief in it, they started to kind of retire those out of the
well, if they're up
product
there,
names.
if they're up there in Michigan, Floyd says this isn't convertible weather.
Well, even down here, I don't know if it's convertible weather, but it's probably better convertible weather than August down here. I'll tell you guys that. Remember, you only have one day and 11 hours left to get your entries to win. This is the first time we've ever done a first-gen Firebird, as they're called. And so you guys need to please get out those credit cards and those checkbooks, help out those 9 great charities, and get those entries to win.
Well, Brett says I got in on my last-minute ticket, so that's awesome.
That's right. Well, remember, tomorrow we'll fire up the Firebird for the last day of the Firebird Dream Giveaway. And one of you is going to be stoked. And by one of you, I mean one of you who donates, whether you're watching this or not on Facebook. One of you who enters the giveaway will be stoked when we announce the winner. Speaking of winners, Friday, we're doing a big awards ceremony, right, PJ?
Huge awards ceremony. Clayton from Wisconsin is going to be here, pick up his 2 Corvettes. We're excited about that.
He must be really strong. I couldn't pick one of those up.
You couldn't. If you could get it out of here, you would pick it up.
There you go. Indeed. So that'll be big. That'll be noon on Friday. Be sure to watch that. Next, ending after Firebird, big diesel truck.
Yeah,
you may be able to pick up a Corvette, but you definitely cannot pick up a big diesel truck.
13 days left on the diesel truck,
13
right?
days on that. F-150 Mustang and Futura trailer in the show and tow giveaway. That ends on February 13th. So that's what we have coming up. Tomorrow, if you have any last-minute questions on the Firebird, get them ready. Send them to Kathy. I know a little bit about Firebird, so feel free to send all of those questions to Kathy. I'll try to get to all of them tomorrow during the Fired Up Firebird episode.
Mark says Pontiac later on had a WS6 Firehawk that was impressive for its time as well.
So you're confusing terminology. There was a WS6 and there was a Firehawk from 1998 through 2002. Let me put it this way. From 1999 to 2002, there was a Firehawk. They didn't make them in 1998. They were made by SOP out of New Jersey. That same company was commissioned by General Motors to make the WS6 cars. They also made these Chevy Camaro SS cars, so those were made offline as well. However, a vehicle is not both a WS6 and a Firehawk. It can be one or the other, but they're both made by the same company. Here's where the confusion comes in. The hoods look really, really, really similar in some years. So you may look at one and say, oh, it's a WS6 Firehawk. No, one or the other. So what you do is you look on the door jamb, and the WS6 is simply what's called an RPO code, a 3-digit code that tells General Motors how to build that particular car. So if it says W6 on it, it's a factory WS6. I believe that the Firehawk code is like a WU6. I might be incorrect on that, but it's a different code. They look similar in some years, but you can't put both of them together on the same car.
Yeah, very interesting.
There you go.
Well, Allison, I'm stoked regardless. So,
and there you
we're
go.
happy to
You
see
ask
that.
a short answer, I give you a long. You ask a short question, I give you a long answer.
It's all right.
That's what you get when you ask me about Pontiac.
Roger says, how's the Harley giveaway looking?
Looking great.
Yeah.
The Daytona Convention Visitor Bureau has the Harleys. They're doing some promotions with it, some exhibits and events with it. And it's great. They're stoked about it. People in Daytona are stoked about it. People nationwide are stoked about it. And I'm sure you guys are too.
Yeah, we're excited about that
Right.
one.
Let's wrap it up, PJ.
All right, we'll be here tomorrow for the Firebird.
And last day to enter is tomorrow. So get those entries now. Keep getting them all the way up until midnight. We'll talk more about midnight tomorrow. We'll see you guys tomorrow with more great fun, more great action, more great grand prizes. It only happens here live in our favorite place on earth, the Dream Giveaway Garage.
See you next time,
See you
everyone.
guys.